Good evening, dear sisters and brothers. Welcome to the evening session of Being Heartful Every Day. Today is the day 358, and we are in our week 52, and we are continuing our reflections in this final sacred week of our year long journey together. As we step deeper into the quality of constant remembrance, we begin to see that how it is not just a chance or a practice, it's a way of being. Constant remembrance isn't about forcing our minds to recall a concept, it's about allowing the presence of the Master, the Divine, to become the underlying current of our lives, a soft, silent, yet steady. As Babuji has reminded us, that it is not enough to remember during meditation or prayer alone. We are invited to remember in our every day to day activity, be it in the kitchen, on a phone call, during a meeting, while walking, listening, or resting. This remembrance transforms each action into a spiritual expression. In Sahaj Marg, we gently are trained to move from effortful practice to natural presence. It begins with morning meditation. It is deepened through cleaning and is offered in prayer, but it blooms in the quiet moments in between when remembrance arises spontaneously, like a fragrance from the heart. Daji speaks of this inner orientation as a sign of spiritual maturity. We begin with techniques, but eventually, remembrance becomes the soul's nature posture, where the divine is not apart from us, but within, as the very essence of our being. Let us now proceed ahead in our session today, and wherever possible for us, let us try to extend the invitation for master classes and being heartful everyday sessions with our near and dear ones who can benefit from us. We will now start with the inspirational reading, and this is from the article Constant Remembrance. It is an excerpt from the chapter Reality at Dawn. This article is an excerpt from Reality at Dawn. The hard and miserable life of most of the people engaged in different worldly pursuits keeps them so much occupied with their problems of life that they are often led to believe that they can hardly spare time for devotion and worship, except at the cost of some vital interest or pecuniary gain, which they cannot safely afford to ignore. This notion keeps them away from the path of duty, although sometimes they become seemingly conscious of it. Their minds are absorbed every moment in thinking about the various problems of their material life and are seldom directed towards God, except when they are in deep distress or misery. The reason is that they attach primary importance to their worldly interests alone, which constantly remain in their view. Thus, they remain entangled within the Maya without ever thinking of getting out of it at any stage. If we divert our attention towards God and feel realization as the primary object of life, naturally we shall begin to look upon it as the first and the foremost thing in comparison to everything else in the world. It does not mean that we should become unmindful of our worldly responsibilities and neglect our duty in that respect, causing trouble and misery to those depending upon us for support. We must remain alive to our sense of duty to them as much as to God, but without any undue attachment. For this, we must snatch a few minutes from our hours of rest, preferably at bedtime, and pray to God with a sincere heart for His guidance and support on the path of duty. I repeat, for this we must snatch a few minutes from our hours of rest, preferably at bedtime, and pray to God with a sincere heart for His guidance and support on the path of duty. If we do it regularly with a heart full of love and devotion, the prayer shall never go unheard. When we thus get awakened to the sense of duty and the idea of God becomes prominent in our hearts, we begin to treat realization as the primary object of life. Naturally, our craving for it becomes to grow stronger, and we are thus led to frequent remembrance of God during our routine of daily work, in spite of all our engagements and worries. Diversion from the path of duty is in fact not due to circumstances or outside engagements, but only due to the misdirected activities of the undisciplined mind. Mere consciousness of God cures many of the evils of the mind and removes difficulties from our path. We have thus to become conscious of God for the most part of the day during all our worldly activities. Frequent remembrance of God, though greatly helpful, is not all that we need for our final success in realization. We generally begin an important thing in the name of God, and it is customary almost in every religion to do so. But that is only a matter of formality and has no real significance. We never dedicate the thing to God in the real sense, and at heart we are, in fact, quite away from the idea of God. Remembrance of God thus is of no avail. The real significance of the custom is that we must remain in touch with the idea of God in all phases of our mental and physical activities. We must feel ourselves connected with the Supreme Power every moment, with an unbroken chain of thought during all our activities. I repeat, we must feel ourselves connected with the Supreme Power every moment with an unbroken chain of thought during all our activities. It can be easily accomplished if we treat all our actions and work to be a part of divine duty entrusted to us by the great Master whom we are to serve as best as we can. Let us take a quiet moment now, letting this wisdom echo within. Let the feeling behind these words guide your reflection as we continue. We will now prepare ourselves to offer the universal prayer. सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रही है और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है. All brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. May the remembrance of the divine awakening every heart. And as you prepare for rest tonight, take a few quiet moments to reflect on your day. For your reflections to the Master in prayer. And if any mistakes or shortcomings come to your mind, resolve to not to repeat them again. Thank you, dear sisters and brothers, for joining us for this evening session. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for our morning session at 6 a.m. And until then, may Master's constant remembrance accompany you in every thought and in the space in between. Wishing you a very good night and thank you for walking this path together heartfully.